Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Coffee and Football, presented by Rick Vobro and Austin Underground. I'm your host, Blake Monroe, where I'm joined each and every day by Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton. Be sure to tell us where you're checking in from, what you're drinking this morning. Get your questions in. We're going to get to those as well here in a little bit. But first, fellas, let's talk. Both coaches, Florida and Texas, met with the media yesterday, including the Texas players. So let's start with Texas. And I'm actually going to play y'all a clip of Sark talking about Florida, and then we'll take it from there.
Excellent defensive front. And Sapp is a heck of a player and had a great year last year. They've got a really good depth on their front, and they're big. You know, they are not the most, play on an edge, penetrating defense. They two-gap you, and they do that intentionally because he likes to play. They play with a lot of split safety looks, and they're a veteran secondary, and so they can make things really muddy in the secondary. They can force a quarterback to hold the ball, and then that's where the pressure can get there. And so, the key to the drill is we got to maintain the line of scrimmage. We got to run the ball well, and then if we can get them out of some of that too high shell look where they're doubling receivers and doing things because, I got a ton of respect for Ron Roberts, their defensive coordinator. He's been doing it a long time at a really high level. And so they're not built necessarily to always just sack the quarterback. They're built to really guard your receivers and then make the pocket feel small on the quarterback. And so, hopefully we can get them out of some of that stuff. We'll see how that goes and then try to attack them as best we can, and find some opportunities for some one-on-ones down the field.
Well, Bobby, that sounds exactly like what you'd want to do to Arch Manning right now, doesn't it?
Yeah, make him beat you right now. Make the young quarterback prove that he can beat you in the pocket. If you have the players in the defensive front to do it, you can win and corral offenses. Ron Roberts, by the way, Jerry, has some history with the University of Texas. He was defensive coordinator at Baylor prior to going to Florida. So I feel like, Sark has seen him before. He understands what he wants to do. We'll see exactly what happens with the Texas offensive game plan against the Gators. I went through some stats yesterday, Jerry, you and I both did. And look, these two offenses are up against two really good defenses.
Yes.
Florida, even though they've lost 3 games, they are a good defense. Texas is a good defense. This is really going to be about the story about which offense can eke out the most points. Now, maybe there's something maybe there's some, chink in the armor that Florida has or that Texas has that the other offense can go after. But right now, this really looks like a defensive first type game. Hopefully Texas has the more well-rounded team and can put up some points against Florida in the swamp.
Yeah, I think for both teams, and we're going to get to some comments of Billy Napier as well, but I really think first down offense is huge for both of these teams. I think we're going to look back on this game and say who is most successful on first downs, because I think on first down, because I think moving chains is not going to be simple in this game. Florida's given up 284 yards a game, and they've played a tough schedule. South Florida, road game LSU, road game Miami. And no matter what people think about LSU's offense, that was still a road game. And they've played against quarterbacks with experience that have had success in college football, Garrett Nussmeier and Carson Beck. And Miami's got a heck of an offensive line. And they've played against talented wide receivers. LSU's got quick guys. They've got fast guys. They got speed at running back, catches the ball out of the backfield. Miami's got guys that make circus catches like they did against Notre Dame and have talent. They've played, their defense is proven against multiple teams. So I really believe, and Napier's going to talk about this, I don't know if it's clips we have, but how his offense has been in 3rd and 7 too much. I think the team
sounds like Texas.
Sounds like Texas, Bobby. The team that stays out of 3rd and longs 7+ in this game, I think has a huge advantage, because these defenses are too good. They're executing at too high of a level. The one thing that's interesting to me about Florida is Caleb Banks is supposed to be out. If his backup is out, then Michael, the big nose guard, I'll never pronounce his name right. He's out of Atlanta. Texas offered him, but I'm not sure.
Mbachu?
No. Borio or something like that. It was the class before. But he was a 6'5", 360-pounder over the ball. If he doesn't play, they are smaller. When I say smaller, 320 versus 360, then they want to be over the ball. So can Texas find some run game there? But I think first down offense is massive for both of these teams. I think we're going to look back on it and say, man, who was in the most third and short mediums in this game is going to have a huge advantage. Obviously, you could say that every week, but in a defensive game, it's huge.
Well, speaking of the offense, one thing that's been asked on this show quite a bit is Texas holding back for SEC play? So Sark actually got asked that yesterday. I'm going to play y'all his answer.
Necessarily that we held back. I think that we have laid a solid foundation in all three phases to build upon for SEC play. And, you know, it's not it's like when we go to practice day one of training camp, you know, we lay a foundation to build on throughout training camp. I mean, we just don't come out and line up in empty formations and run reverses and things. Like, we've got to teach the foundation of the offense, defense, or special teams. I think that's kind of part of how a season goes, especially, let's say, on the offensive side of the ball, where we were a younger team on offense. We had to make sure that we built a foundation. We had to go through growing pains so that we could do the things that I knew we needed to do as the season went on. And so, you know, hopefully we can put the game plan that we've devised for this week is one that is sound, but also allows us to create some explosive plays and move the chains and put the ball in the end zone. And that would be no different than on defense or on special teams.
Marcus had the comment there, and I agree with this.
Yes.
This response further made me believe we've held some stuff back. Jerry and I talked about it yesterday. Laying the foundation means you can do other stuff afterwards.
Yes.
And so when Sark says we've laid the foundation, what that means is not necessarily that they've, to his point, held stuff back. They're just preparing for the future. So I hope we do see some things. You got to remember, it was the Florida game last year, Jerry, where Sark pulled out that what they call the tornado reverse with Isaiah Bond. You remember that play where it was like like a double fake reverse. So let's see if he's held some stuff back. It sounds like, at least to this trained ear, that he has indeed held some stuff back. He certainly hasn't put it all out there. And so,
yeah. You know what that sounded like to me? The AD coming out and saying the coach is safe. Sark, I don't believe you.
Yeah, Sark. Oh, you mean, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, that's like when the AD comes out and says the coach is safe, and then 2 weeks later he's fired. Oh, yeah. Sark said, oh, well, no. I don't believe you, Sark.
We just laid the foundation.
Laid the
foundation.
All right, Bobby, this morning before we move on, tell us about Austin Underground.
Yeah, I can do it, Blake. Thank you so much. Since 2004, Austin Underground has specialized in difficult underground commercial installations. The team's engineering background gives Austin Underground the ability to perform work other firms often consider too risky. Rick Vavro and his team offer an end-to-end client experience, including seamless communication, budgeting, staffing, and top-notch trade partners. And most importantly, they produce solid quality work each and every time. That's Austin Underground. Also, check out their sister company, that is Texas Road. If you have any big major road projects, ranches, subdivisions, etc., and want someone to talk to about that, make sure you check out Texas Road as well as Austin Underground. Both brought to you by our longtime Longhorn friend, Rick Vavro, and the Rick Vavro's team.
All right, guys. Well, up next, as you said, Jerry Napier talked quite a bit yesterday with the media, and here's what he had to say about Texas. It's about 90 seconds, so we'll play that.
It's a big week. It's good to be back at home after being away for a couple weeks. And a good Texas team comes to town. Obviously, 3-1 with a road loss to a really good Ohio State team. And it's evident, you can see this team's got an identity. PK does a great job on defense. I think that they've gotten incrementally better each cycle. They continue to add wrinkles each year to make them a little bit more difficult to prepare for. And the personnel is exceptional. Very experienced group on the second, third level at linebacker, and then secondary almost all back. And then good edge players, and then probably 5 portal defensive tackles that all have height, length, girth, power that can cause some problems for you. And then obviously offensively, Sark does a great job with the formation motion, the combination of run, play, pass, and then the situational football. And they're breaking in a new quarterback. Arch's obviously reputation speaks for itself, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And, I think that they are breaking in new players at other positions, up front, tight end, running back, receiver. So more new faces on the offensive side of the ball, and I do think you can see their rhythm getting better each week.
That was.
Do you want me to? Here's my take on that. He said some nice things about Texas.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. He did a good job of trying to puff it up. The real question's about Billy Napier, about his own team right now, and about his future. And so while we hear that, and he's saying great things, particularly about PK, which I thought was nice, Texas defensive coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski, I hesitate to take any of that for real, in part because you don't know his motives right now. I mean, this guy could have already been fired, and he's just playing out the rest of the year. I mean, there's a number of different pieces. He's playing possum because, hey, this is my chance to beat a top 10 team at home. Maybe I can get the fans back on my side. There's all kind of ulterior motives that could be said. I will say this. I do like one adjective he used to describe defensive tackles. He said height, length, and girth.
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm gonna start using the term girth.
I knew you were going to say that.
Tackle because he's big. I mean, girth.
Colbert Vard pops on tape like that.
He's got girth.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, Billy Napier isn't like a big raw guy.
No, clearly.
But that felt like his own eulogy.
Yeah, he was.
I watched that whole press conference. It was good dude, man. I mean, very good dude. I've ran into him on the road many times when he was an OC or wide receivers coach in Dallas. Really good guy, but man, that was a rough listen. But look, I really believe, because I do think the crowd is going to start hostile to Texas, and if the first quarter goes bad offensively, turn hostile to Napier. If Texas wins this first quarter, if they can win the first quarter, I think it's massive in this game, because the swamp that people fear, like Peyton and Eli, what did Art say yesterday? The swamp is really, it's a tough place to play. Unless the fans are turning on the coach, right? So Texas' goal should be to win the first quarter and the defense gets off to a really good start. Because if that happens, then that fan base will turn from, we want to make Arch and Texas day hell, to we're going to make Billy Napier's day hell. That's truly what will happen in that stadium if Texas comes out swinging and plays a really good first quarter and gets Florida on their heels, and offensively they struggle.
That's not Texas, though.
I know.
That's not Texas MO. Sark, we've chronicled this. Even though they did score on the first possession against Sam Houston State, Texas has not come out of the gate swinging, even though Sark says that's one of his goals. Now, they've done well on defense out of the gate, but over the last 2 years, Texas has not been an elite team in the first quarter.
No.
So while that may be your recipe, Jerry, it may be a tall ask.
I'm talking 7-0 in the first quarter in the Florida.
Oh, no, you're not talking about a blowout.
Yeah. We're just talking about a 7-0 in the Florida offense has 2 3-and-outs and 1 first down, and end up going backwards with a penalty or something. Right? It's just like if you can get up 7-0 and make the Florida offense struggle, that's probably all you need for that fan base to turn on Napier in 15 minutes.
Yeah. Well, I think they've already turned on him is the problem.
Right. I mean, the stadium to turn from going after Texas to going after the head coach.
Fair enough.
Well, the other clip I have for y'all is actually I'm talking about DJ Lagway. I'm going to play that next.
This was interesting.
We did quite a bit of just 11-on-11 full speed work with DJ, just trying to get caught up for him. I think that was important. Just more live bullets, with him and the other players. And I think that that's what he needs. And I think that that's ultimately what we decided to go with. So we did quite a bit of competitive work, 1s-on-1s, 2s-on-2s. Obviously, some of the players that have played a lot of snaps around here, we tried to take care of. But, in general, I thought that was beneficial for him and what he needed.
I thought his comments were very interesting. Bobby, we talked about this in the offseason, that DJ Lagway did not practice much in the spring because of a shoulder injury. They even held him out some and pitch counted him in fall camp. Well, has DJ Lagway been good this year? No. But did that pitch count, not doing much in the spring, set him back further? Because we talked about this. He is a young quarterback. You don't sit young quarterbacks in the spring if they're not really hurt, number one, because they need so many reps, especially with J. Michael Sturdivant coming in, Vernell Brown coming in, Dallas Wilson coming in, Eugene Wilson back off injury. He needed to build some rapport with those guys. And the fact that he never got truly a chance to do that in the spring or summer, it spoke volumes to us about that DJ Lagway was really injured. That shoulder was a concern. But two, how would that affect him this season? Now, has that affected his decision-making? I'm not saying that, but it definitely has probably affected the timing with some of his – yeah, that's true – with some of his wideouts. And what's interesting to me is they're trying to speed that up a little bit. Dallas Wilson was back practicing last week, and they're going 11-on-11 full speed in the bye week for your quarterback is not a normal thing.
No, but I think he's desperate.
Mm-hmm.
And desperate times require desperate measures, in my opinion. And so I don't have an issue at all, Jerry, with what he's doing and what they're talking about. I think that, he thinks he has a franchise quarterback, right? Not unlike Texas thinks they have a franchise quarterback. If you're the coach, you want to see that come out of your quarterback because that's the only way your team is going to be an elite team. So having an entire practice focused around that, and I'm not saying every single drill or whatever, but have the primary portion of practice focused around that, I think it's a smart move and a smart coaching move. We'll see if he can extract it, though, because Lagway, for whatever reason, has not looked like the Lagway of part of last year, Jerry. Maybe, and I want to say this, there's some thought behind the scenes that it's because Napier's offense has been extraordinarily predictable to date. Okay. And I'm not talking about, that's from Miami and South Florida and those kind of teams that are saying that. And if that's the case, Napier himself is not helping the quarterback. It's not just the quarterback on his own. And that may be where the two issues are colliding and causing a worse situation. Look, hey, Florida is worse than like we've all bemoaned Texas on third down and Arch Manning and the whole offense not being as good as we want on third down. Florida is worse on third down than Texas. I hope everybody understands that. Florida this year has been worse on third down than Texas. Now, they played better competition than Texas overall, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So don't want to limit that. But they've been worse on third down than Texas.
I'll say this about DJ Lagway. He's getting to almost a put up or shut up time for him early in his career. And I say this because against Power 4 opponents to this point in his career, he has 9 touchdowns and 12 interceptions. Wow. That dog will not hunt much longer. And his next 2 games are Texas and at A&M. And then you look at the rest of this schedule, Texas at A&M, Mississippi State improved team in Gainesville, Georgia, obviously November 1st. And then they end with at Ole Miss, Tennessee, and FSU. So if DJ Lagway is going to right the ship with him as himself as a quarterback, he's got a really tough road to do it. And he better get going quick because that is going to 9 TDs and 12 interceptions against Power 4 teams. That dog will not hunt. And, it's going to be if they make a change in Florida, if they make a change at Florida, which we all expect, there's no guarantee the next guy's going to want DJ Lagway if he doesn't perform a little better. And then that gets into a whole different discussion NIL-wise. What does Florida do? What does DJ Lagway do? But 9 touchdowns and 12 interceptions against P4 teams, that dog will not hunt. Somebody asked who the backup quarterback is. It's Tramel Jones, true freshman from Jacksonville Mandarin, high school quarterback and teammate of Jamie French. Missed his senior year with a broken leg, rough injury. Glad he came back. He's a great kid. He was committed to FSU for a long time, flipped to Florida before signing day. They like him as a young quarterback. I think he's a good pocket passer with functional athleticism. He is a passer first, but he has played a little bit. He played against Long Island in a backup role, but it's a true freshman as the backup.
Well, we have Bob Shipley joining us here in just a moment. But first, I'm going to let Colt and Vince tell everyone about Advanced Pain Care.
Pros know the pain stops here.
Physical therapy helps me as an athlete then and now. And do I still need therapy? Yes. And Advanced Pain Care helps with that.
Injuries will stack up. They'll add up. You can't let those injuries get you down, and Advanced Pain Care has been very helpful for me.
We can help with whatever's got you down, from nerve damage to our spinal cord stimulator. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. Same-day appointments available.
Advanced Pain Care. The pain stops here.
And Bobby, if you'd be so kind to tell us about South Point Dodge this morning.
Absolutely. Hey, Texas football fans, score an easy extra point this season when you get to the point at South Point Dodge. South Point Dodge has more than 600 vehicles in stock, including the all-new Ram 1500 2025. Get the real deal today and drive away in an all-new Ram proven to last. Plus, you can get employee incentive pricing. That's right. You pay what employees pay at South Point Dodge. That's a real deal. Score big today at South Point Dodge. Come see us off I-35 in South Austin, or you can just go online, southpointdodge.com. That's southpointdodge.com. Get to the point at South Point Dodge. Thank you for sponsoring On Texas Football.
Oh, I'm going to bring Bob in.
I could see driving a South Point Dodge down the road in Abilene. This guy.
Oh, I think
guy.
I think you're right, my man.
Morning, Bob.
Yeah, and I got Billy Napier's greatest hits turned up loud, rocking, getting pumped up. I want to go work out. I'm going to go to crunch time and work out. I got a little Rocky music playing in the background. Billy's getting me fired up, man.
That make you miss 2-foot putts on the golf course listening to that.
Oh my gosh.
No confidence.
Oh man, I felt sorry for him during that press.
Yeah.
I was going to say, as a coach, if you put yourself in his shoes, what are you thinking when you go to the mic, knowing you're probably not coaching this team very much longer? And
well, it depends on who you are as a coach, because some coaches, they're probably going to be fired up because they're going to be sitting out on a beach here probably in October, getting paid millions of dollars, and they're freaking, I can't wait to go to work today to get fired. Yeah, but others, obviously, Dabo's like, I ain't 40, but I'm young, and I'm still going to go somewhere and win, and he just seems like he's on a rough path right now, and I don't know that he knows how to turn it around at this point. He's stuck with who he has. And it's not going to take long, as Jerry was mentioning earlier. Get up on them early, and out come the boo birds, and we'll see.
Hey, Bob, Jerry also mentioned something else, and Napier discussed it. He went more 11 on 11 in practice last week to try to get his quarterback sped up. and his timing better. Is that typical of what a coach might do at college level during an off week, or is that an anomaly of sorts?
No, I think I think it all it all depends on where you're at as a team. You know, what areas are you lacking in? Sure, if you feel like you need that. I've had open dates where I'm like, golly, we still got guys cramping up, and you know, we're having a hard time. So we're going to end every practice with sprints, you know, just because that's what we need. We need to use this week to get in better shape. We've got to use this week to be better tacklers. We've got to work on pursuit angles. We've got to work on timing. I mean, you know, whatever it is that you're lacking, that's what you're going to focus on, you know, during that week. And that's just, you know, that's just good coaching, I think. And then sometimes when you're like Texas, you're like, I gotta get out of this healthy. You know, I got to have all these guys back. And so, yeah, you know, it all depends on where your team's at, you know?
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, what are your early keys for Texas in this game? With the understanding, somebody just posted it again, weather is not supposed to be good. Now, can the weather change now, the forecast from Tuesday at 8:42 a.m. Central Time, of course, but they're talking about thunderstorms, lightning. We're talking about possible game delays right now with that tropical wave and the system hanging out. What are your kind of keys in this game with the understanding the weather may be rough?
Well, I think one of the things that Bobby and I were actually talking about this, one of the things that I am really big on with running backs, and that is that when a running back or a ball carrier makes a cut, especially a violent cut, you know, and I'm not talking about just, but when you're going to try to cut, you have to cut on your outside foot, and you have to have your shoulders over your feet. Okay. So a lot of kids, I see it in college football and occasionally in the NFL, a guy will try to cut with his inside foot. And when you see a guy slip when he's cutting, almost every time it's going to be because he's planning on his inside foot, and his shoulders may not necessarily be over his feet. Even having your shoulders over your feet doesn't always help when you're cutting with your inside foot. So I would just really focus as a running back coach, receiver coach, to make sure when those guys are going to plant a foot to cut, that they're doing it with their outside, and they're doing it, you know, in a way that with their shoulders over their feet. So the law of physics will allow them to make that cut and hold that ball high and tight. And when you're in, you know, when you're in a crowd, you want to put both hands on it, you know, and just really and my question is this. We've got a running back that has been known to fumble the ball a few times. What's your psyche going into this game and playing him? Do you take a chance? Do you give him a chance? Is it a vote of confidence, or do you?
And he's a Gainesville, Florida kid. This is a homecoming game.
You're talking about Jarrett Gibson.
Yeah. He's a Gainesville kid. So, you know, they want to get him a little bit into the game. I mean, it's a homecoming. These things matter in recruiting, right?
And it might be the best thing to happen to him, a vote of confidence.
Yeah. And a kid that was committed to Florida at one time, by the way. And his dad was a huge Florida fan. Everybody knows that recruiting story.
Yeah.
But, he's definitely going to play. But to your point, if you're the coaching staff, you definitely are worried about that, because one turnover in a defensive battle type of game is probably going to make the difference.
Definitely could.
If it's in your own territory, it's definitely going to make the difference in the game.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, you and I have talked, and we've all discussed this at length about this game and where DJ Lagway's at. Arch Manning's kind of big game against Sam Houston State. Do you think Arch Manning's game against Sam Houston State can be or will be that kind of jumping off point for him the rest of this season? Do you think that was the exact kind of game he needed?
I do. I really do. I feel like that we can all point back to that Sam Houston State game, because we know he's got it, because we've seen it last year. We've seen him Mississippi State and UTSA last year. We know he's got it in him. And so I think we look back and go, wow, that was a turning point. That's when he got his swag back. That's when he maybe stopped thinking so much and started just playing ball and having fun. I'm not saying he's not going to make a mistake. He's gonna make mistakes. But I think when Arch plays with confidence, obviously, I'm not saying anything that anybody doesn't know. When he plays with swagger, the team feeds off of that, you know. And obviously, to have swagger, something good's got to happen. Apparently, there was a backstory with that DB that tackled him in the end zone.
Yes.
And a lot of people didn't know that or don't know that. I just read about it, actually. So maybe his mom won't quite be so mad at him for not being a good role model, but
well, especially after the linebacker made a social media post standing over Arch earlier in the game. I'm sure his mom forgave him after she saw that.
Yeah,
She's probably like, say something else.
Yeah, I would much rather go into this game, you know, with Manning than with
Lagway.
Lagway, yeah. There's no question about
Well,
that.
Bob, you look at it. You look at the game, and you look at these two teams. Both, I mean, really, the 2000s. You could say that they were owned by Texas and Florida as much as anybody.
Yeah,
I mean, both teams were pillars of excellent play when Urban Meyer took over there. Mac Brown was in his heyday at Texas. They both had problems in the 2010s, right? Neither team looked very good, but they're both proud programs. Texas seems to have righted the ship. Florida is still flagging, right? Or flailing. Do you see some similarities there from some standpoint of these are two great universities, proud universities, yet they haven't gotten their stuff together quite yet, whereas Texas is a little bit ahead of them? I mean, how does that happen? You know, that would be my question.
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I do think Texas is a little ahead of the curve on that, obviously, with their back-to-back national playoff appearances. But even if you look at this team right now, they're still eerie similar. Yep. You know, quarterback inconsistencies, offense not ranked in the top 100 on third down percentages, defense both rated in the top 10 on third down. You know, I mean, it's just like there's a lot of things that they have in common. You know, even when you're looking at this game on Saturday. But I do think I don't know. I think it helps Texas to be. I mean, you know, you've got Florida State in Florida, you've got Miami. You know, you've got the other colleges there that take, and then you've got, you know, Georgia and Alabama and Clemson and everybody coming and taking athletes out of there. And we are too. When you look at Texas, I don't know that Texas has had that much national level competition within the state. Baylor was good for a while. A&M showed signs with Johnny Football there. But there's much more competition in Florida for national attention with football, and there's not so much in Texas. I mean, there is. We just haven't had great teams other than the University of Texas in the last 20 years.
Yeah. Hey, Coach, there's an interesting question, but I'm going to kind of change the question. El Conquistador says, does Coach miss coaching? But I want to change this because you're all tanned up. You look like you've been golfing your ass off. So I'm not sure you miss coaching, but what do you miss about coaching?
Actually, I miss college coaching.
Yeah.
I spent 10 years in the college level and the rest of my 25 years coaching high school football. I miss college coaching. I love high school football. Obviously, if you live in Texas, you love high school. But coaching college football is you don't have to babysit. You know, the guys are you can carry on a conversation with a college guy and explain things to him, and it's just it's funner because they get it. You can talk at a different level. High school kids, you don't know if that guy's over there daydreaming about his date night, or if he's,
Yeah.
reaching puberty or whatever he's dealing with, and you don't know if you've got his attention or not, and you don't know how he really feels and if he really cares. And in college, it's just I've been in a couple of my players' weddings that I coached in college, and it's just a different relationship. So for me personally, I enjoyed the college atmosphere. I enjoyed college coaching. I loved recruiting. High school, it's a lot of fun. It's obviously very competitive. There's great coaches in the state of Texas. Wow, did I find that out when I moved from Burnett to Coppell, Bobby, having to coach against Coach Irwin and those guys up there. I mean, you're thinking, okay, well, we'll outsmart these guys. No, you won't. They're dang good coaches. You're not pulling that stuff on these guys. They were really good coaches. So that part of it was fun, but just the parents and the school board and booster club, and I never had any problems with school boards or anything, but I've known a lot of friends that have lost their jobs because the school board president's son was supposed to be the quarterback, and the coach's son was going to be the quarterback, and so you know what I mean, just piddly stuff like that. But I just love the atmosphere. I love playing afternoon games. You don't ever play an afternoon game unless you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I love to play those afternoon games. It's just nothing like playing football when the sun's out.
There you go. Hey, Bob, it's like a 9th grade game.
That's right.
Hey, question for you, Bob, and this is separate from that one. A lot of jobs going to come open. Sam Pittman got fired at Arkansas on Sunday. That job now open. We just talked about Florida. Whether that job comes open, UCLA is now open. Is there a coach out there that you've seen that you like a lot, that you think should, if I were an AD or a president of a university, this is a dude I might go get? Is there a coach out there for you that's like that?
Well, there's a pretty good one up in basketball country that is making a lot of noise this year. As a matter of fact, he's a guy that I can't remember his name. It's
Cignetti. Yeah, Kirk Cignetti.
Yeah. I think he's going to be the hot ticket out there. With Kiffin, you know what you get. You're going to get a great football coach. You're going to get a guy who's fun offenses to watch, but you're also going to get some of the antics and some of the stuff. And Cignetti, I think you're just getting a ball coach. He fires me up. I think he's a great coach, and Coach John Irwin does too. We were just talking about that, with him, Bobby. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out, because I would like to have his offensive coordinator. I would like for him to come to Texas, because he's doing some great things too. We mentioned that, but it's just interesting to see, and it's almost going to be cringeworthy when you hear about guys getting these jobs. Okay. I mean, who's going to get the Arkansas job?
Yeah.
Well, the AD came out yesterday in this press conference, said somebody point blank asked him about his comments that Arkansas AD had made a couple of weeks ago about not having the funds or the setup to compete in the SEC. And he came out and said it again yesterday at the press conference. I'm like, if I'm a coach, how not appealing is that to me? Suddenly where I'm at looks a little bit better. I mean, because Arkansas is already up against it from a recruiting geography standpoint in the SEC, especially with SMU now being in a Power 4 conference, making DFW even tougher when Arkansas has to win some recruitments. I'm not talking about Texas or Oklahoma, but the other recruitments against people, the TCUs, the Baylors of the world in DFW, and win in East Texas. Well, with SMU being in the ACC now and having a lot of juice behind them, that's become even tougher for Arkansas. So one, you're saying, where do I get my players? And two, now your AD is saying we're not set up to compete. Who in the hell wants that job? Not me. Unless you want $6 million a year to get fired and go to live on the beach, which maybe in that case I'd take it.
Well, Rhett Lashley's going to be there is going to be Arkansas's first call, I believe, and may already be getting calls behind the scenes that he may not be taking, but his agent might be. But I mean, I think Auburn's going to be open too. Florida, man, Auburn's. I don't know how you have an offense like that if you're an offensive head coach. I mean, I just don't. I don't know how that works. But anyways, I digress. Coach, thank you so much for joining. You have something else to add?
No, I was just going to say, are they going to be able to get rid of the interim coach at the University of Arkansas, or is he going to find a way to squirrel that?
That's going to be interesting. I mean,
now you say who out there would take a job like that? Here's a guy in a neck brace saying me.
I would have to do some research on who the strength coach's girlfriend is nowadays.
Yeah, no kidding.
Answer to that.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't live in the state of Arkansas anymore.
It wouldn't be the first time, by the way, that he's kind of taken a job away from a head coach. Remember, Tommy Tuberville was the head coach at Louisville at one point, and Petrino kind of sidetracked that and then took the Auburn job, was trying to get that behind. I mean, anyways.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's exciting week. We get to start SEC play. Go down to Florida.
Today, sorry. Go ahead, Coach.
Go down to Lubbock. Lubbock. We go down to Gainesville. Hopefully the rain will kind of dampen the spirits of the Gator fans, and Texas can come home on the right track.
Yep. I agree with
you. You guys have a good week.
All right, take care, Coach. Hook 'em, man.
All right, see you,
Coach. Take care. Always good to hear from Coach Shipley.
Yes,
always good to hear from him. He said that he told me yesterday. I was talking to him yesterday. Said Jordan's going to the game down in Gainesville this weekend.
Nice. He's going to mix in some offshore fishing. I'm sure he's going to.
I'm guessing they're going to do a little bit more than.
Yeah, to Ormond Beach. Probably go fishing out there. Yeah. I can't imagine it's football.
Good for him. Good for him.
Well, before we move on, I'm going to tell everyone about one of our other sponsors today. That's Prize Picks, because we make decisions daily. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. And with football season now here, it's time for you to make that money. Prize Picks is simple. You're just going to pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get it right, you cash in. It's the best way to get in on sports action in more than 40 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and of course, right here in Texas. And I'm waiting for the college football projections to come out this week. So right now I'm on that MLB action. Tonight I have Freddie Freeman and Aaron Judge having at least one hit. We're running a special on both of those, along with Gavin Williams to have more than 6 strikeouts. So come join me on those picks or make your own in less than 60 seconds. Turn your sports opinions into real money. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use code ONTexas when you sign up. They're going to give you $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's with code ONTexas. You'll get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. And that's Prize Picks. Run your game.
I can't. You're talking about Aaron Judge. I can't believe the Astros just totally fumbled.
It's such a shame.
Oh, yeah, bite me. I mean, seriously. All year and then just total failure down the stretch. I mean, talk about a team that had injury issues this year.
They had the second most games missed on a roster all season.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think their roster missed 1,942 games this year. Just think about that. Like, that's a wild number. It's a wild number. Especially with by the way, Yordan Alvarez is a great player whose body was not made for athletics.
It may not have been. Other than his girth.
He's not need when he runs. It looks like he's going to tear his ACL if he's rounding a base. Like, his body was not made for athletics, but the guy's got unbelievable hip speed and hand-eye. Unbelievable power. But Astros should trade him before there's no trade value left. All right, but what's next, Blake? We got some Dylan Jester. How you feeling about Bo Ogden and Texas chances today? For those that don't know, we have a thread on Texas football, and Bo Ogden, I call him a 4-star plus, ranked top 35 in the country, top 40 by most of the basketball evaluators out there, 6'5.5" without shoes, shooting guard wing from Austin Westlake, obviously the son of Texas GM Chris Ogden. Bo Ogden announces his decision in 4 hours at 1 p.m. at Austin Westlake High School in the gymnasium. Texas, Purdue, Tennessee. He made OVs to all three. He was at Texas last weekend. And look, at any point with a recruitment like this, I feel like it's an upset if he doesn't go to the school that people expect. And I think Sean Miller, I think what Sean Miller has done in this recruitment is he's made it known to Bo how much they value him. Because it's one thing for people to say, oh, just Bo Ogden should go to Texas because his dad's there. But I don't think that's the way this stuff works. Like when there's a coaching change and Sean Miller interviews Chris stays on as a GM. And by the way, I think he does a great job as a GM. But then it's not just a kid's not just going to go to a school because his dad went there or his family went there. It doesn't work that way. The new head coach has to go in and recruit him and make him and have the right message and vision and sell him on how he can fit in that program. Because you know what? Matt Painter's been selling Bo Ogden on that for a year and a half, how he fits into a program that's ranked top 4 in America and that played for a national title 2 years ago. That's what's been going on in the kids' recruitment. Rick Barnes has been telling Bo how he fits in, how he reminds him of the guy he had 2 years ago that's with the Lakers now that went off in the NCAA tournament, the Northern Colorado transfer, who Bo's very similar in some ways to as a shooter. He's a better shooter, but those things have already been set in motion long ago. So Sean Miller has to come in and get that work done from a coaching perspective. And I think Sean Miller's done a really good job of illustrating to Bo, one, how much they want him at Texas, how he would fit at Texas in his offense, in a free-flowing offense. And if for those that haven't seen Bo play, Dalton Connect, thank you. Bo is a elite shooter. Elite, not good, elite shooter. He led the Adidas 17U AAU circuit in three-point shooting at about 50% a pop for a season over like 19 games played. He is an elite shooter. He's a guy that I would say is a 42, 43, 44% level three-point shooter in the college game. I think he's that good of a shooter. I think he's gotten more athletic. He is tough. He's got that in his neck. He's got that competitive a-hole in him that you want in all your guys. I call guys like that Final Four players. I just think that guy he's going to be a really, really good college basketball player. That if he stays healthy, will play pro basketball in some level, right? The interesting thing with that today was that decision today. Chris Ogden was Rick Barnes' first high school recruit. Bo Ogden has the chance to be the same for Sean Miller at Texas. So we'll see. We'll see. Because the international kids, I don't count the international kids as high school kids. They may be high school age, but they've been playing against pros for 3 and 4 years. It's a totally different game. High school recruit. John Clark had already signed at Texas. So there's something interesting there. We'll see which way it goes at 1. We'll have full coverage of that. CJ is going to be over at Westlake. And we'll see what happens.
Fingers crossed.
By the way, on football recruiting, Braylon Hodge, the linebacker from Cherry Creek, who was in the current Michigan State commit, was in last week for an unofficial visit, 2 weeks ago for an unofficial visit. He's now scheduled 4 OVs. Here's his senior huddle from the first 4 games. 4 OVs have been scheduled. He has Michigan this weekend. Let's see if I remember this off the top of my head. Oregon on the 11th, Missouri on the 8th of November, and then Texas on November 22nd, Arkansas weekend. I believe, headed into the official visit phase here, Texas is the favorite to flip Braylon Hodge, the 6'3", 212-pound rangy linebacker from Michigan State. But his recruitment has really picked up with the Oregon, Missouri offers, and now he is taking OVs to all those places. So it's a little more in the balance when you're going to take 4 official visits. But the good thing for Texas is they do get the last official visit November 22nd, and that early signing period is December 3rd through 5th. So there's not going to be time after that for much from an in-home visit process. People are going to be playing their last regular season games. Some teams, the Oregon will probably be in a conference championship game. You hope Texas is in a conference championship game. So these official visits are going to decide this. It's not going to be in-home visits after that, the old recruiting process. This is OVs teams playing their last regular season games, getting prepped for a conference championship game, and this kid's going to sign with somebody December 3rd that's likely playing in a conference championship game or possibly in a conference championship game.
Hey, Jerry, just to be clear, he's the only new 2026 offer so far, senior offer for the University of Texas. Is that accurate?
Yeah, and the Texas staff, a few of those guys were out on the road last week, and there was not another 26 offer made last weekend. So he is the guy right now. He is the Kellen Wiley. Remember, for those, Kellen Wiley in the last class out of Seffner Armwood really popped onto the radar as a senior. He ended up going to Miami over Texas on signing day. He's actually played for Miami this year. I saw him in person. That kid's going to be a pro if he does it right. But this is kind of that same guy, that linebacker, that rangy, long kid that Texas really likes. Johnny Nansen's looking for. So it's kind of following that. Texas found the linebacker in the last class they tried to get late. And now they found one in this class after losing out on Braylon, after losing out on the kid to Tennessee. But this is the one right now. We'll see if any other offers are made. People are asking in the chat about Malachi Lee. That one's going to play out a while. People have asked about Jalen Lott. There's still great communication there with the Oregon commitment. We'll see what happens. Dre Quinn, Ohio State's trying to get him up on campus for the Minnesota game this weekend. If that happens, then obviously that recruitment gets more interesting right now. I think there's more confidence in Austin than Knoxville for the former Clemson edge commit. But if he shows up in Ohio State this weekend or in a couple of weekends, and that recruitment starts to take a little bit of a different turn than what it looks like now potentially. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, Texas is still in contact with some guys. Kendall Gerville, obviously the Florida defensive line commit from Fort Myers who picked Florida over Texas. Texas still very much in the hunt there. I'd probably be a little surprised if he doesn't show up in Austin in November, but things can change for a visit. And then you have guys like Trenton Henderson, the edge at Pensacola, who's not a Catholic. He's at Pine Forest now. The LSU commitment, Texas still likes him, but if Dre Quinn does something before a Trenton Henderson, then obviously Texas would be done at edge. So if they get Dre Quinn. So there's a lot of moving pieces right now. Braylon Hodge at linebacker, Kendall Gerville at defensive line are guys I'm really, really watching right now, along with Jalen Lott and Malachi Lee. Then you also have guys Texas is trying to hold on to. Corey Wells, Auburn isn't giving up on that one. Ole Miss is not giving up on Corey Wells, the defensive lineman from Petal, who was on campus with his mom and brother 2 weekends ago for the Sam Houston State game. That one will be a battle for probably until late November or even the signing day.
Jerry, I hate to ask this because I don't want to open up a big can of worms, but teams like Arkansas and Florida who may have coaching changes.
Yeah.
In case of Arkansas, it's already happened. Are there guys out there other than Kendall Gerville, for example, at Florida that Texas was in on? Jeraylon McCoy was a guy out of Mississippi that Texas was in on at one point, a big defensive lineman. Anybody like that that's sticking out to you that Texas may try to pop back in on?
Yeah, I mean, Texas kind of moved on from McCoy. So I don't know on that one. Arkansas.
Anybody that Arkansas got committed?
Arkansas had a run of decommitments right now. So I off the top, probably not. Unless somebody they look at a senior and he ends up being a really good player on tape, right? But kind of going through some of their guys. I mean, Texas looked at the edge from Maumelle, Jordan Harris, but they never really made a push for him. I don't really see it right now. It would probably be a defensive line position, somebody that backed out on Arkansas, but the guy they really liked in that state went out of state. So he didn't commit to Arkansas. So we'll see. Florida has a DB that Texas went and looked at in the spring. Brunel he goes to the Windermere outside of Orlando, right? That was a kid that they went and looked at, and CJ Hester, the safety DB out of Cocoa. CJ Brunel to Windermere And then the DB out of Cocoa, CJ Hester. Texas went by and looked at both of those guys in the spring evaluation period, never made a move for either one of those guys. Some people have asked about, Carson Baker, the running back from Fairburn, but not with Derek Cooper committed. Hezzy Kent, people have asked about, but I don't think Texas is with as good as the tight ends have looked in the freshman class. I don't think Texas is looking to make a big push at the tight end position right now, unless a USC guy decommitted. Maybe that's an elite guy as a pass catcher.
Yeah, I was going to say the thing about Hezzy Kent, too, he's not really a tight end. You can pretend that he is, but he's going to end up – he can't play that position at 6'4", 300 pounds. Not effectively. I know he wants to.
All right, let's get over to some super chats this morning. Dante says, Bobby, start adding pause to these suspect adjectives. Arch Revenge Tour starts this Saturday. Stand over all of them. Ignore the haters. We believe.
Yeah, girth. There you go. But look, I've seen some comments in the chat. My apologies for anybody that took that the wrong way, Bobby's mayo spreader, by the way. But I would just say this. Arch, it's not so much the revenge tour for Arch as it is, and this is why I asked Bob Shipley that question. I just want to see Texas win football games and Arch maneuver throughout the game in a positive way. Make some third downs, throw some improv, and I want to see him bounce back. Look, we don't want to see an Arch Manning that is all hot or all cold. Right? I mean, that's one of the things about a quarterback. A quarterback, of course, is going to have some cold sections of a game. Invariably, they all do. They miss on 3 or 4 in a row. If he has that against Florida, one of the key components for me and the future of the Texas Longhorn football team is that he bounces back from that. He doesn't just stay mired in that mediocrity, right? But every quarterback, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, they've all had dips in their career. How do you bounce back? The measure of a man is how he handles adversity. And so one of the things I'm looking for with Arch Manning is to see when he has that adversity, does he bounce back? That's one of the things that I'm thinking about as we go into SEC play. So more than revenge, Dante, that's kind of my thought process.
And the thing about it is, too, with a quarterback that's up and down is going to be 9-3 or 8-4.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of it, is like you have to find a consistent level there and I'm not putting it all on one player, because look, Ohio State won a national championship with a quarterback who had not been a great player in college. Right? There's national championships that won every single way. Clemson won without a high-level offensive line, right? So you can point to many things. There's been bus drivers that have won national championships. Now, most of those guys played for Nick Saban, so maybe throw that one out. But there's been national titles won in so many different ways. But I do think with a young quarterback, the things that are like this lead to 8-4 and 9-3.
Yeah,
inexperienced quarterbacks.
I agree. I just want him to bounce back from it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's y'all know this. He's going to miss 4 in a row. We can all. I mean, we're old enough to know that that's going to happen to your quarterback. It just is. What we saw in the first 3 games, I thought, when he went down that road, it magnified and pushed on. I want to see him limit those valleys and accentuate the peaks. In other words, I'm okay with this as long as it's always going up, right? It's never going to be straight linear path up. But as long as the valleys get shorter and thinner and less pronounced, I'm fine with that. That's a level of consistency.
Okay, let's see here. Also need to say thank you to Bobby's Mayo Spreader for a couple of super chats, and Terrence Jones. We put their comments up during those discussions. And then the next one comes from Jeff Carey. He says, sent to Blake the top 10 in college football postseason wins 2000 to 2025. Alabama and Georgia tied for first at 16. Clemson next at 14, along with LSU is tied for second. And then Texas and Utah tied for third at 13.
Look, I mean, it's the first 10 years of the 2000 century, 21st century. Texas was as good a football team as there was in the country, year in, year out, period. It did. Yeah. It was not the case in the second decade of the 21st century.
And by the way, we talk about this all the time, but Clemson fans better be very careful, because whether you like Dabo or not, and I have fun with him because he never adapted to the portal or tried too late and had a wide receiver playing running back this year. You are not going to see that level of success at your university with a coach probably ever again. So, and he's still competitive. He was in the college football playoff last year and is still, I mean, the fan base better be careful there. That grass may not be greener for them, because the chance, look at what's happened to Florida after Urban Meyer. Look at what happened to Texas after Mac Brown. Be careful if you're Clemson fan base with that.
Theoretically, Clemson should go on a 2-game win streak here. They got North Carolina and Bill Belichick, who I don't think can beat anybody this year. Coming up on October 4th. And then they got Boston College. That should be a get healthy game for them. But then they go to SMU on the 18th of October. If they lose to SMU, I mean, that'll be 4 losses.
Yeah.
They also play Florida State this year. That could be 5.
All I'm saying is they better be careful, though, because they will not have that success with the next guy.
If they lose to SMU, Florida State, and South Carolina, they could lose 6 games.
Yeah.
So, that was interesting. Vanderbilt will upset Alabama this weekend.
I say no chance.
This is in Tuscaloosa, by the way.
I say no chance.
Game's in Tuscaloosa.
I think my thought on Vanderbilt is we're about to see defensively what they really are, because look, Virginia Tech fired their coach. South Carolina's offensive line's been a disaster this year. In Georgia State, Utah State. I mean, Vanderbilt gave up more points, more yards, everything versus Utah State than A&M did. I know transitive, but I'm not sure how good Vanderbilt really is on defense, but we're about to find out. Pavia, I love him. Tremendous college player. He's great for college football. He's an ultimate competitor. The guy's going to be successful in life no matter what he does. But let's see how good they actually are on defensively, because it's about to get tested the rest of the way. I'm not convinced on them defensively. But look, if they go 8-4, that's unbelievable at Vanderbilt on their schedule.
You think Johnny Manziel's successful in life? Because I think Diego Pavia is going down.
No, I think Pavia's Pavia's a much better dude. He is not that.
Okay.
No, he's not that.
All right. Johnny Manziel's going to be on the sideline for the Vanderbilt game this weekend.
Yeah. Diego Pavia may run UFC for Dana White one day. He's going to be successful at what he does.
Okay.
He's a totally different preparer of football on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Now that may be fair. That may be fair.
If people haven't watched, go watch the SEC show on Netflix. That guy's literally at 4 a.m. starts preparing every single day. It's not that dude's squeezing every ounce out of the orange, and I would argue Manziel did the opposite.
All right. I think Manziel would probably agree with that.
Yeah. Hey, Rocky P said Pavia is going to be a running back or slot receiver in the NFL. You know what's interesting? Could he have a little NFL career outside of playing?
I think people think he's Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
The old BYU quarterback that played so long with the Saints. That's what people are talking about professionally.
Yep. By the way, Marcus Myers, Alabama, he brought up something. Quay Russo I went and saw him and Smith, the D lineman who got the targeting. I saw those guys in Montgomery because Texas was trying to recruit him. But Quay Russo's out for the season. He didn't play against Georgia, but he is out for the season with a broken foot. They have a little bit of linebacker injuries there. They do have injuries. But I'm interested to see Vanderbilt defensively the rest of the way.
Well, before we get to our last couple of super chats for the day, Bobby, tell us about Austin Underground.
Yeah, absolutely. Since 2004, Austin Underground and Rick Vavro and his team have specialized in difficult underground commercial installations. The team's engineering background gives Austin Underground the ability to perform work other firms often consider too risky. Rick and his team offer an end-to-end client experience, including seamless communication, budgeting, staffing, and top-notch trade partners. And most importantly, they produce solid quality work each and every time. That's Austin Underground. You guys see all that work being done down in downtown Austin, big buildings. Work has to be done underground first. That is a lot of it being done by Rick Vavro and his team at Austin Underground. Thank you to Rick for his sponsorship of On Texas Football.
All right, well, as I said, we got a couple more super chats to get to. Rocky P says, have you heard of any changes on the O-line heading into SEC play? Also, Jerry, how are you holding up with the corn dog recall?
I've had multiple people text me a picture of the corn dogs since the news broke yesterday. I am holding up great, and Friday morning, I'm going to eat one out of that box I had yesterday and see what happens.
You're gonna
if I can survive wood chips and the corn dog, Texas can win in the swamp.
What about the O-line heading into SEC play?
You're gonna time out. We can't just go straight to that. You're going to eat that, even though it's been recalled.
Yes.
Well.
Yeah, because
dude,
look,
if Jerry's mom or dad are listening, please call him.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of all of us here. Please call him and ask him not to.
Ryan Nelson does bring up something. I'm going to need to use my tushy after eating that corn dog. That may be true.
Oh, gosh.
Hey, in all seriousness, I don't know of any changes on the offensive line. Cole Hudson's been back at practice. He actually practiced 2 weeks ago during his foot injury. That seems to be going well. So he should be in good shape. As of right now, I know of no offensive line changes. Texas should go trot out there with their first team unit. That was the first team unit to start the season. That's my understanding. Yeah, Jerry likes to live dangerously. Yeah, clearly. For no reason whatsoever.
You think I'm really
corn dog?
Hey, man. You got to have the corn dog. By the way, you got to have the corn dog Friday. It's Texas OU next week. I'm going out. If that's what takes me out, then I wasn't meant to see 51 anyways. If I lose to a corn dog with wood chips, I wasn't supposed to make it to 51 anyways.
Oh, gosh. All right. Billy Woods with the super chat says, hook 'em. We need to go first down, second down, and then first down. That is the mark of a good offense. That's what we should strive to do. Your thoughts?
Sark has made comment about this. It's not always third down that you want to be good at. You want to be good on first and second down too. I think that there's truth to that. I would just say, if you're going to be a great team, you got to be great on do or die downs. And that's why the focus on third down is so big. Because yes, you could, if you have good first and second down and you don't need a third down, that's all great. But you and I both know when you get to the national college and when you get to the college football playoffs, there's going to be a 3rd and 2 or a 4th and 1, like there was last year against Ohio State, where you got to come correct. And so that's why, while a good offense, Bill Walsh used to do this back with the 49ers, 2nd and 4, 1st and 10, 2nd and 5, 1st and 10. I mean, that's what the West Coast offense was built on, basically, just moving the ball down the field like that. That's great. But we all know in our heart of hearts that a third down or a fourth down play is what will decide the close games, almost invariably. Name one that it hasn't.
By the way, how about kicking field goals?
Yeah.
Kirby Smart at home against Alabama. I mean, come on, man. The analytics are driving horrible coaching decisions, and they're getting worse. Sark, please kick the field goal. Let's go now.
I thought the other thing with that Kirby Smart decision, he did not go with his best running back on that play. I mean, Chauncey Bowens was tearing them up.
Yeah.
And he ran wide with Cash Jones. Bad play call, suspect decision. But to Woodcrest, I agree with this. Take the points in the swamp.
Yeah. There's certain games you need to, and I get there's certain games you got to be aggressive, right? I get it. But I know it's analytics driven. I know all sports are getting to be analytics driven, but I hate when I see coaching instincts taken out of the game.
Well, I wonder this. I mean, how was he that worried about his defense? Maybe that played a role in it too, Jerry. He felt like he had to push because his defense had been getting moved on.
My problem is in the post-game press conference, we've already decided this earlier in the week, but you took instincts out of your coaching. These guys are taking the instincts and the way the game is flowing out of the equation. I don't think you can coach that way. I don't think that's the way. I think that is just wrong. Does anybody really think Nick Saban would go to the mic and say, I've been planning to go for them 4th down all week and not change if he felt the game was going different than they had planned for all week, or that situation was different than what they thought it would be? I just don't see that, man. I feel like they're taking their own instincts and their own in-game decision-making out of the equation too often in coaching. I just really do, because the players have to play on instincts a lot of times. Well, coaches have to coach on instincts too in games.
Yeah. I agree with you.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for today's episode of Coffee and Football, presented by Rick Vavro and Austin Underground. I want to thank them, along with Prize Picks, South Point Dodge, and, of course, Advanced Pain Care for sponsoring today's show. Bobby, what do you have for folks later today?
Yeah, we've got lunch with the coach. I'm going to talk to Coach Shipley and Coach Brian Irwin a little bit later today. That'll be up. Jerry and CJ in particular, will be covering Bo Ogden, the basketball recruit, and his pledge. We'll see if he picks Texas, Purdue, or Tennessee later today. And then tonight, we actually have a little something different. We have the live stream. Amanda, CJ, and Jeff Howe will be on the mic. Just a note to everybody from a programming perspective, we have 2 set live streams every day. We have the morning show that starts with me, Jerry, and Blake, that starts around 8:15 every morning. We also have the live nightly show from Sunday through Thursday that starts at around 7:15. So you can always catch us live either at 8:15 or 7:15 every single day. Other than that, we have news and notes around college football and recruiting in particular today on ontexasfootball.com. I would also say, don't forget about the tailgate. If you're going to Florida and want to go to a tailgate, make sure you check out that QR code on the screen. Blake, if you could put the link in the chat, that would be great too, because I think the QR code does not show up on mobile, is what I'm being told. So if you don't mind, if you want to join us for the tailgate on Saturday, please do. We'll be happy to see you there. But other than that, it's a long day here as we get ready for the second season, really, is what we're talking about. This is where it starts. I mean, by the way, I got to say this. Sark mentioned it's crazy to him that Ole Miss is already 3-0 in conference play. Steve Sarkisian hasn't played a single conference game yet.
Yep.
In Texas. Think about that. That's Lane Kiffin's out ahead right now.
He's got a great schedule.
Yep. Got to beat Georgia.
Yeah.
If he can do that.
Well, we hope you all have a phenomenal day. Of course, we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. So for Bobby Burton and Jerry Hamilton, I'm Blake Monroe, and we'll see you then.
Hook 'em horn.